Is that for me? That's odd.
Class 15, we need Emma Cardew, Avery Sawyer, Taylor Gibson, Jake Jones, Madison Rule, Carter Watson.
did that with a girl, yes. But yeah, we've tried to do that with every single judge. We have cleaned on the area. Yeah.
I'd like to see. It's kind of good.
So this is what all of us interns are doing. I did this morning. This is what the other day. So we've had 17 of these.
So here's my question. Did that girl when you went to his house
I don't know.
yeah.
So
We should sit down like a code and start talking to him and stuff.
oh yeah. No, I forgot it. Oh, you got me.
Yeah. No, but I think that's okay.
Yeah,
I wonder if you could do that. If you could manifest for that. Yeah, usually if you get one or two, it's not by yourself. You're not doing it.
no, we have 15 of us meeting.
This is way better. I'm curious to see what.
All good things.
I haven't had time to look.
Another really nice class here. A lot of options, I think, and I know ringside, you guys are studying them as well, and I wouldn't argue on a few of these different ways, but I like this blue one here to win this particular class. That one is three-dimensional. He's built from the ground up in terms of this bone and sheer base width. Study that one's chest forward, underline, and that one has a lot of look to him from the side. Then we get on top of it, and he's opened up as wide, and it's got about as much spread and touch as anything, I think, in this class. Good way to start here. I like this sheep in a second. Again, we comment on this young man last class and how he can get one stuck really well there and get their front end up out of them. This one right here gives you such a great look on the side. It's when we set them into motion that one wants to fall out of place and just get a little bit lower fronted and not want to get up out of the skeleton up front. You know, we get him on the side there. That one's angular. He's got plenty of shape and side view muscle there to his leg and his stifle. More mature in that base of his neck. He's kind of bucky there at the base of his neck. We've got to just thin that down and extend that up front. If we can do that, that one right there is built really, really good because I love his foundation and his feet and legs and where they go. Again, up front there, just some small things in these top three, but I think that just tells you how tough this class is and how deep the quality is here as well. The different one of the top 5 comes to us here in 4. This one's big and extended, and he is up out of his skeleton up front. The problem with this guy is when we set him into motion and you study his rib cage, he just closes in there at the bottom of it. He closes in at the bottom of his shoulder blade there as well when we travel him out. And if we could just open him up right there, we got a bell ringer, I think, because that one's got some shape to him down his top. I think he's got enough muscle. He doesn't have as much as maybe those up front. But again, we just got to open him up right there in his armpit and the bottom side of his rib when we set him loose. The sheep we round out the top 5 with, he probably does do that. I love his belly and his sweep to his flank and his feel, and he's right. His touch is good, his handle's good. When we get right up on over the top of that guy and start studying his shoulder blade, I don't know if he transitions as well there into the bottom side of his rib or into the center part of his rib maybe as well as those sheep there right above him. Again, we study him loose, and I think he just gets a nickel piecier for me, I think, than the previous 4. We go down the line here, we got some sheep with some muscle. They just maybe need some more flank and some more guts and body to them. Great class to work through. Let's congratulate and thank these exhibitors. Nice job.
Class 15, be ready. Class 14 exiting the ring. Congratulations to our winners. First place, Kate Cherney. Second place, Neil Eller. Third place, Olivia Sandy. Fourth place, Shane Smith. Fifth place, Riley Hoyle. Sixth place, Carter Watson. Seventh, Aiden Winch. Eighth place, Michaela Millsap. Ninth place, Ethan Baumberger. 10th place, Austin Hollenbeck. Are we ready? Come on.
Anyone who is a champion or reserve champion division winner, we need your winner's circle forms turned in ASAP.
class. I think it's a class that fits together pretty handily for me. I think that logically on the sort, for me, the class winner, I think, is where we need to land and begin. That one right there has got a lot of width, not only up high in terms of muscle and spread and dimension, but you want to talk about one that's open from rib to rib to the center part of his body. He's got plenty of that. And I think, too, he still holds himself together really, really well out here in terms of look and balance. Is he the most freaked after his chest floor that we've seen today? No. But I think things match and fit in that guy, and I think that's a great place to start. The weather that we got here in second, 2 and 3, I think maybe those two sheep right there, you can maybe mix and match those guys and be all right. The one in second just has more dimension, more shape and power and muscle in him. In fact, his rack's so big and his back is so big, it's almost deceiving, I think, on that particular sheep. We set him loose, and again, maybe he wants to get a nickel deeper there through his chest floor, and maybe just doesn't have quite as much lift and youthfulness of neck as that class winner does. Good place here in second to land him. The sheep that comes to us in 3 just kind of kept easing up, I think, for me in class. This one, maybe didn't have him quite this high to begin with. But here's one that one's got a hard touch to him. He's thin-skinned. He wants to wrinkle just a tad there. That's okay, but his skin is still thin, and he's still got plenty of feel and look to him. For me, on a 3/4 view, he's not opened up as wide enough or as wide to the center part of his rib. He's not as spread and open there out of his shoulder blade as maybe those two sheep right above him. We'd like to bring him up in his tail head too and level him out there when we travel him away. The sheep here in 4, that one's got a lot of muscle, square built, big hip, big engine from behind. For me, that one gets a little bit maybe more moderate in terms of just his look up front when we set him into motion. He's not as extended when we set him into motion as well. And I just maybe like to make him a rib longer there on the side view. The sheep that does that is in 5th. That one's really, really long-sided, a long-bodied, level-topped kind of a sheep that as we study him from behind, and I think comparatively to those top 4, and maybe even a couple below him, we just got to give him a shot more power down low there inside his leg, across the stifle, maybe even open up his pin set just a fraction, I think, for him to break into that top 4. We go down the line here in terms of sheep in 6 here, good looking, good built one, maybe just need a shot more to him when we get right over the top of his hip, and from behind, blue sheep, they just need to be toned up and more athletic in terms of that muscle shape. Great class to work with. Put our hands together and congratulate these exhibitors.
We need Claire Marietta and Gunnar Sharp for class 16. Claire Marietta, Gunnar Sharp. Class about to go in the ring.
Congratulations, class 15. We're now in class 16.
What?
First place, Madison Rule. Second place, Kate Cherney. Third place, Olivia Sandy. Fourth place, Shane Smith. Fifth place, Carter Watson. Sixth place, Izzy Klaus. Seventh place, Hayden Winching. Oops, sorry. So sorry. Back up. I'm reading from the wrong class. All right, third place, Caitlin Hamamtoa. Fourth place, Austin Hayes.
Still looking for Gunnar Sharp. Gunnar Sharp, class 16. Class is going in the ring.
Carter Watson, fifth place. Sixth place, Izzy Klaus. Seventh place, Emma Cardew. Eighth place, Jaden Jones. Ninth, Ammon Blackhurst. And 10th place, Rose Davies. Congratulations, winners in class 15.
start.
If we can get those first and second places from class 13, 14, 15. From class 13, Sam Schmillen and Hudson Franklin. From class 14, Kate Turney and Neil Mueller. From class 15, Madison Rule and Kate Turney. Okay, let's get those first and second place lambs over here. Don't want to have to wait on you. Still looking for Sam Stone, Kate Turney with 2, Neil Erler, and Madison Earl.
Real good class, and I think a lot of quality here, but I think ultimately at the end, you know, there's not really one that we can maybe all agree on, and there's maybe not one out here we can just hang our hat on. I think there's a lot of awfully good ones. We're talking 10, 15 deep in this deal easy. So when we get to the top end here, you know, I think there's some give and take in these sheep, and I understand if you see them differently, that's absolutely, I'm cool with that for sure. But this sheep that wins for me, I think suits me the best in terms of just feature, stoutness of bone, build, with the base, with the center. Yeah, sure, this sheep right here, if he kind of get his act together and act right, I'd like to bring him up in his top line there when he gets on the side view. I think more importantly for me, when we set him loose, he does come together and he does have that show ring look to him, I think, and he brings that top line together and up in him. So that's the sheep I like to use here to win in terms of the shape and balance and again feature. The blue sheep coming here in second. That's a good showman right there for sure. He comes up out of the skeleton, level top. That one certainly has got a great look and a great build to him. You know, when we study him up front, his front legs just come kind of out of the same hole there. I'd like to open him up there in his chest floor, and the bottom side of his rib there, get around that weather there that leads his class. But a good pair of them right there for sure. Nice sheep coming here in 3, and this one right here, I'm sure got some fans as well, and I'm still a fan. I like this sheep quite a bit. You know, maybe from his forward back, I like him a lot better than up front. Here's one that's got a great body shape in him. He's three-dimensional. I like his ruggedness and stoutness and feature. Muscle shape's good. He's maybe not the most dense in that muscle shape down his backside in the class, and I'm okay with that. I think for me up front, though, we've got to lay him back in his shoulder blade and relax him in his knee and just make him more athletic out of his front end there, I think, to get into that top pair. Sheep maybe the different one of the top 5 comes here in 4. Rugged and powerful for sure. Those are some ESPs on that guy. Love him at the ground there in terms of just his fur and his feet. Tons of shag on that guy. I love how much shape he's got out of his hip and through the center part of his leg. For me, yeah, we can make him freak him out just a little bit up front and get his neck up higher out of his shoulder blade. He too, we got to just harden up, trim a little bit of bark off of his rib there as well, and down his top line there to get into that top 3. Good sheep coming here in 5 as well. You know, maybe one that fits more of the top hair mold, I think, of this class for sure. This one's angular, big-legged, a lot of power and shape from behind. You know, maybe not as fresh and shapely in that muscle shape. Kind of a unique neck sheep too. We got just jerking his neck back there on the top of his blade to get him up any higher. We go into 6 over here. Young man's got an extra powerful sheep, a lot of muscle. Maybe just clean him up front in terms of that shoulder blade. Maybe a couple more sheep going down the line there. Just some little things. You know, we can just see a little bit more flank in one, get them up into that top 5. Congratulations, this is a great class. Let's put our hands together and thank these kiddos.
I'm sorry, 5th place was Madison Woods, 6th place is Braden Bowers, 7th place Chloe Sandy, 8th place Carly Costello, 9th place Reagan Rogers, 10th place Robbie Canfield. Congratulations, winners. We now have our names in for Division 4 champion, 1st and 2nd places. Thank you.
really solid set of sheep that we see in this division. Let's put our hands together for these young people here, these exhibitors that grow some really good sheep here in these 4 classes in this particular division. And I'll tell you, there was a couple of classes there in the last 2, I guess, that we've seen that are extra deep. You know, I think for me as we come out here, I think maybe there's 3 of them that come together, and out of those 3, those are the sheep that I like. I think in terms of just their chest floor elevation, their show ring presence. You know, there's some little things between each one of them, and I get that if you see them a little bit differently. You know, I guess as out of that class 1 down there, man, there was a pair of them that were close, and between the 2, I thought the blue one right there was just a little bit bigger out of his upper hip and had more spread in his pin set there. You know, a sheep that maybe walks out a little bit leveler out of his hip, and you get your hands on that guy, and he's all there as well. I mean, he's got a great show ring presence to him. The second class comes out, and power and muscle and shape in that class kind of took precedence, I think, you know, with that blue sheep as well. Big top, big ended one that's got a ton of shape. The second in that class, again, one that had a lot of shape and power in him. You know, I thought maybe the difference there was just, again, up front to their chest floor and their neck and extension up there. Class 3 presented us, you know, a lot of differences, but I think there was a pretty logical place to begin with this young lady's sheep. Massive, wide built, wide based one that in that class still had enough elevation, enough look. I think in that particular class, and then we just finished with a lot of options in that class, a lot of really good ones. I don't know if there was bell ringers in that class, but we come forward with one that I thought was good bodied and just looked the best on the loose for me out of that particular class. So a lot of things kind of going through my mind here, and just some little things. For me, I think there's one out here that just has a show ring presence and arrogance to him. That's a young man out of this first class here with this blue sheep. He's going to be the champion. Again, I think it gets close out here. I like that second quite a bit. You know, we can start breaking him down. He's big legged, got great forearm shape, great touch to him. You know, we can pick him apart in places, but I think we can pick each of them apart in places. You know, I think for me it comes down to one that, you know, just puts maybe a notch more pin set and width of upper hip, I think, in one, and combines still, again, a great look. Class 3 will be your reserve champion. Congratulations.
We need a sheep for Gunner Sharp, 160 pounder, Gunner Sharp, class 17.
Division 4 Grand Champion Lamb to Sam Schmillen. Reserve Champion Lamb, Division 4 Madison Rural. Congratulations, exhibitors. Our judges sorting class 17 right now.
Class 18, Sarah Dyke, Maddie Griffin, Bailey Lake, Garrett Millsap, Cassandra Paulskill, Carly Costello, Brantley Cox, April Murphy, Allison Sandy. Need those lambs up here to scale. And still looking for Brantley Cox, Class 18.
Real nice class as we get into the heavy division. I think a sheep that we start with here that's extra unique unique up through his chest floor. I like still the width that he's got when he comes at you through that chest floor and he's elevated. I think that's where the advantage lies over the sheep there in second. And again, still a class winner when we handle that one. That one's good to the touch. He's got some shape and some freshness to him. I think a sheep that really looks the part when you get him stuck. Now when you set him in motion, he wants to become a little bit more aggravated and maybe just kind of deviate there in his top line just a little bit, not get out and go quite as well as some of the others. Speaking of ones that maybe just don't get their act together, the sheep here in second, when he came in, he was ready to take on the world, and he's kind of dogging him a little bit right now. But I'll live with that, because that one right there is still a wide-centered, big-backed one. Love the top shape and the freshness and touch, and he's dialed in terms of that. I mean, that one's got great big feet and legs under him as well. I think as you study maybe his shoulder blade there up front, maybe there just at the bottom side of his neck, you know, maybe not quite as unique and as youthful as that one that we lead with. But that's a really good pair there on top. And I think a sheep that comes into three that just ran into a pair of them that are a little bit further out there. This one right here comes in, and that one's still really angular. I love his top line and his shape and his touch and tone that he's got. You know, that sheep's got plenty of muscle through the center part of his leg and around his stifle there. And he's opened up at the ground, and that's what I like about him. You know, when we set him into motion, he may kind of want to just get down a little bit, do kind of a down-headed kind of a sheep. He's maybe just doesn't have as much flex in his hock when he gets out and moves either. But I think in terms of just being ready to show, that one right there certainly fits the bill. The sheep that comes in four, again, one that you get your hands on and you really like. You like his freshness, his skin, his touch that he's got, plenty of shape and muscle and ruggedness and feature in that one. You know, we study that one on the side, and he's a bit maybe more mature and plainer up front than those sheep that are right above him. We round out the top five with the sheep that we get stuck here, and he runs uphill. Good showman on that one, and we love his look. You know, we just like to stretch his hip out there, maybe just make him a little bit, you know, soften his touch up. He's so hard and so raw right now. I'd like to see just a little bit more on him down his top line there when we get our hands on him. Great class to work through here. We go down the line here. We got some sheep with some muscle. They just need just a little bit more feature and bone. You know, one that we may just like to clean up in terms of pattern and look and balance. Great class to work through. Let's congratulate these exhibitors. Nice job to them.
Congratulations, Class 17. Class winner, Kara Elliott. Second place, Sam Schmillen. Third, Karen Lopez. Fourth, Madison Woods. Fifth, Becca Payne. Sixth, Gunnar Sharp. Seventh, Haley Albrighton. Eighth, Gabby Juarez. Ninth, Kelsey Graves. And 10th, Raven Low. Congratulations, winners. We're now ready to have Class 18 entering the ring.
I've seen them, but they're not right. I can only imagine Did he really?
There was like us, another trainer,
Well, just put that. Huh? Don't make the weird
Nice class. I think the blue one that we're using here, I think that one ties a lot of good things together. You know, things we've been talking about all day in terms of just youthfulness, extension, length, and still having some, plenty of shape and muscle and power to him. Is that the most powerful one in class? No, that one's in the second hole. We'll get to him, but the blue sheep that wins, that one to me, I mean, he's a lot trimmer bodied, and still his body shape is so good. He's hard to the touch. He's one of the firmer handling sheep, I think, of the group, and yet, you know, his lines stay together so good. Love his length and extension up front. His neck is set there where it needs to be on that blade. That sheep in second comes in, and she does a great job of sticking this guy and getting everything out of him he can, because here's one that's just loaded. This one has got a he's got a bus to carry around when he leaves, because he's got so much stuff to him through his center part of his leg and his pin set from behind. Plenty of shape and muscularity throughout. You know, we can start breaking him down when we put our hands on him. That guy's probably as soft as any of the top three, or maybe the top five, I guess, with the exception of the fourth place one. But here's a sheep that we just like to trim some bark off of, make a little bit more athletic and dense in that muscle shape. And to be honest, when he gets out and goes, I'd like to bring him into his skeleton just a little bit more off those rear two. He wants to get a little bit wide and a little bit wild there off those hocks when he leaves us. But then she puts that one together on the side there. That one paints an awfully good picture for having that much power and that much shape. The sheep here in third, I guess this is one that really stuck to with me here when he came in. Here's one that's really long-bodied, good-bodied, you know, plenty of shape and top shape over the top of his rib. I guess when in terms of handle, we get over his loin edge and he's not as square and fresh. To me, you know, I'd like to maybe just pull him apart there at the bottom side of his forerib there when you study him on a three-quarter view as well. Blue sheep coming here in four. This one right here, she gets him propped up going north, and that one looks awfully good there on the side. You know, he runs uphill. He's angular. He's three-dimensional. He's got a lot of feature and a lot of substance there at the ground. You know, we get our hands on that guy, and we just got to freshen him up and trim him up there, make him a bit more dense and athletic in that muscle shape. Trim some bark off his rib there for sure to move him up in this particular class. We round out the top five with really a square-made, big hip, square hip kind of a sheep you like to, you know, his feature there in terms of just bone and foot size. I guess you study him. He's maybe not as fresh to the touch and as fresh there in his skin coat and preparation, I guess, as some of the sheep. Maybe just like to drop him in his flank and give him just a bit more belly and sweep to that belly, I guess, just to give him a little bit more of a wow factor there on the side view. Good class to work through. Let's put our hands together and congratulate these exhibitors. Great class.
Thank you, and congratulations. First place, Chloe Sandy, Brantley Cox. Second place, third place, Carly Costello. Fourth place, Bailey Lake. Fifth place, Maddie Griffiths. Sixth place, Cassandra
Class 20, we need Lauren Swan, Riley Hoyle, Audrey Galindo, Madison Rule, Grayson Birch.
Well, as we get into some of these heavier weights, I think we've got some body condition differences, some maturity differences, and I think that there's a lot of that give and take, if you will, through not only these top 5 as we get into 6, 7, 8, 9 down the road there. But I think there's one that surfaces for me. When you put one in a picture, that one right there really fits that kind of type for me. That's good balance, high quality, smooth made one. You know, that one runs uphill. You know, ideally, I guess when he takes off, I don't know if it's the same or what it is. You know, I'd maybe like to see a little bit more reach out of that hind leg when he gets out and goes. But when we get that one propped up, that one right there puts together a great silhouette for sure. I think the sheep that most resembles that is the one here in second. This one's very angular. He's good body. He's square built. You know, is he the biggest Indian one? No, that one comes here in third. But you know, this one's like I said, that one is made just so good. He's right in terms of his lines. You know, we could argue, could we pull him apart just a little bit there in the bottom side of his rib? I think so. You know, and maybe just kind of freaking out a little bit there in terms of his muscle shape and texture. You can do with that class winner, but that's a real nice top pair there that actually fit together pretty well. Wether here in 3, this is the different one of the class. You know, this is the outlier here. The power sheep, tons of muscle, tons of shape. You know, from behind again. She brought us one in the last class there, had a ton of shape and power from behind. This one does the same thing. Lots of inner thigh and stifle shape in that guy. You know, and I think he still does it in a stylish fashion for the most part. When we get our hands on that guy, he's just too fat for me. I got to peel some bark off of him and harden him up. I'd like to bring him in at the shoulder blade there as well when we set him into motion and just smoothing him up front. Sheep in 4 does do that. That's an exotic looking one that's just freaked out for sure. That one is way out there in terms of just elevation, length of front, tallness of shoulder. You know, we get that one into motion and he gets out there and he's arrogant and cocky and he's a show sheep for sure. You know, we studied that one 3-dimensionally, and I don't know if he's opened up in the bottom side of his cage or the center part of his rib, and his pin set from behind is maybe those sheep right above him. So I think that's what we need to change it. Just give him some more width of pin, some more upper width of hip there for sure. Maybe just level his hip out as well. I think I'm going to crank him up there on the side view. Sheep comes here in 5. That one's a muscular powerhouse for sure. Lots of shape, lots of dense muscle in that guy. When we grab a hold of him, again, he's maybe one that's a little bit softer to me. He maybe just comes a little bit piecier for me too there on the side view comparatively to those top 4. Great class. Let's congratulate these young people. Nice job for them.
Make sure you back yourself, guys.
All right, everyone. Another class. Class 20 in about 2 minutes. In the meantime, let me give you the results of class 19. First place, Logan Jackson. Second place, Devin Lopez. Third place, Brantley Cox. Fourth place, Jason Price. Fifth place, Tiffany Sunday. Sixth place, Haley Hoffman. Seventh place, Maddie Griffiths. Eighth place, Izzy Klaus. Ninth place, Caitlin Campman. 10th place, Sydney Kostecki. Congratulations. And class 20, our last class of market lambs, is entering the ring. Josh Coons is our junior market weather judge today. We want to thank Josh. Many of you probably don't know this, but Josh trained in athletics for his endurance to do 6 hours of judging. My prediction.
Hi, Facebook.
Hi, Facebook.
Quit crawling.
Check. We can get those first and second place plans from 17, 18, and 19. Class 17, Kyra Elliott and Sam Smillen. Class 18, Chloe Sandy and Brantley Cox. Class 19, Logan Jackson and Devin Lopez.
Nice class here to end on, and I think as we get towards the top end, these are the sheep that handle the freshest. They're put together the best for me, and you know, you go about midway in class here, and we get some soggy ones. I think that just got too much bark on them. Maybe just too far past 12 o'clock. I think in terms of their handling, their touch. But the one we lead with here, I just love this one's hip and hind leg and inner stifle, or excuse me, inner leg there. I like how much shape he's got around his stifle. You know, that one's angular, three-dimensional, square built. I think a sheep that certainly I enjoy starting with. I think from those standpoints, you know, could you argue, is he good enough in his chest floor? I think, you know, we're getting in the 170s here. I think that one holds together pretty well in this particular weight class. Sheep in second is really good too. I love that one at the ground in terms of just how bulky he is and how stout-featured he is. That one's got a lot of substance there at the ground. Big old toes on him, big legs. And once we get over the top of him, you know, he's just like that class winner in terms of spread and dimension and shape and muscularity and power there. You know, as we study him and start breaking him down into thirds, you know, maybe we just like to open him up there in his hip or in his pin set from behind. He's just not pushing maybe quite as much inner leg there as that class winner. That's a real good, highly presented pair there on top for sure. The sheep that comes here in third is another one that's dialed in right in terms of his touch and his handle. Big old square rack, shapely rack in him. That's a sheep that's certainly got plenty of power and stuff from behind. You know, when we get behind him and we set him into motion, that's where he lands third for me. We just got to open him up at the ground, make him wider base, coming and going, and then I think we can put him into that top pair pretty comfortably for sure. I think from there, maybe some separation, you know, out of that top three here. This sheep that comes to us here in four, good presented one, good shown one that runs uphill. It's got some density in terms of shape and muscle and power there. You know, we get our hands on him, he's maybe not as fresh to that shape and power that he's got, you know, and I don't know if he's as big through the center part of his body as those three sheep that are right above him. Sheep that we round out the top five with here, you know, that one's put together all right. Here's one that's long body, still handles all right for me. You know, I'd like to maybe see him a little bit harder in terms of that muscle shape if we could. Maybe drop his flank and just give him a little bit more body there and feel, just kind of balance him up a nickel more there on the side. Great class to work through. This is a good class, really a deep set here to end on. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Class 20. Currently we'll be picking our Division Champion, Division 5. We need all first and second places in the ring. Congratulations to Class 20. Our class winner is Macy Means. Second place, Riley Hoyle. Third place, Madison Rule. Fourth place, Chancellor Johnson. Fifth place, Caden Schreier. Sixth place, Emily Rumsey. Eighth place, Lauren Swan. Ninth place, Brayson Birch. And 10th place, Marissa Smith. And now entering the ring are first place for the previous four divisions. Excuse me, previous four classes.
Well, what a great division here to end on, and appreciate those of you still hanging out ringside. Let's put our hands together for those of you that are here, and congratulate these heavyweight exhibitors. You know, I tried to work through those classes as quickly as I could, you know, and when decisions are to be made, then decisions are to be made, and we take time and work through them. You know, I'm not going to apologize for taking some time in some of those classes because, you know, I think the kids deserve it. They didn't all drive, you know, 10 or 15 miles to get here. These kids went across the country through snowstorms and rainstorms to get here. So, you know, if we got to keep you here till 9 or 9:30, we're going to do that. I think a great division to end on, you know, and it's a challenge here. There's probably 3 of them, I think, that it comes to, like the previous division in my mind. You know, we're starting to get into this division here, and you know, judges always get asked, well, what's an ideal weight? You know, heck, anything from 130 to 200, I guess. I don't know. Good livestock's good livestock. You know, but at the same time, we got to ask ourselves, you know, is 180s, 170s, 160 getting too big out there? And, you know, I ask myself that the same question too. But, you know, at the same time, I hate to just beat a sheep because he's too heavy or he's too light. You know, I like good livestock, and if they're made right and they go into a class that they're fit into, you know, so be it. And that's where they land. And, you know, I think as you study these from the class 1 down here in this division, you know, trim-built sheep that are smooth pattern, they're good looking, they're high-chested, you know, power and look combined. I think a lot of these things kind of emulate that. You know, that's a sheep here that comes out, and you love his look when she gets him propped up there. You know, he's shiny on the side, great elevation to his chest floor, body shape's good, enough shape and power there. You could argue, you know, can we spin his neck just a little bit higher there on the shoulder blade, maybe relax him in his front shoulder blade just a fraction more as well, especially when we travel him out. Blue sheep that comes in too here, really square built, rugged, power kind of a sheep. You know, he maybe just doesn't have a wow factor to him, I think, when we study him on the side, but you love his handle and his shape and his power. Again, you know, as he got enough look to him there from a show ring standpoint to go ahead and tie into. The sheep that comes here, the young man's got a purple shirt that's getting drove forward there now. We love the look of that one, golly. When he comes in, that one right there puts together a great picture. You know, he is a square made, he's opened up wide, got plenty of features and stoutness to him. You know, when we set him into motion, you know, are his rear wheels good enough, I guess, for me? That's the question I ask on that sheep. And then the last class winner that comes out, again, this one, you know, when he carries around a bus behind him in terms of just width and power and shape. That one is so dense. If you could get your hands on that one, that guy is as dense as anything that we've felt today, I think, in terms of handle and shape. You know, we study him. Is he good enough in his shoulder and his chest floor and his neck? He's still immature enough, you know, for weighing in the 70s. So those are some questions, I guess, I have for myself as we study these sheep, and we just kind of break them apart, and we kind of compare them to the ideal, I guess. You know, I'm not really necessarily comparing them to the previous divisions or what we have out here. You know, I try to compare these class winners to the ideal that's in my mind. And I think when things come together, there's probably 2 of them out here that we can tie into, regardless of maybe their flaws. I like class 3 for your champion. Class 1 is going to be reserved. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Grand Champion Logan Jackson, reserve